What's up, ladies and gentlemen? My name's Cody Campbell with High Ground Gaming, and today we are unboxing the HyperX Alloy Origins 60% form factor mechanical gaming keyboard. This is a aluminum-bodied keyboard, aircraft grade aluminum, according to HyperX. It has HyperX's own in-house brand of red linear switches, which are considered ideal for gaming. It has RGB, as you can see from the box. And it has a detachable USB Type-C cable. Now, it's not wireless. The cable is just detachable. There's no battery or anything. I actually like it when they make the cable detachable, though, for a couple reasons. One, it's really easy to just unplug it and move it aside and just keep the cable there if you want to just get it out of the way and clear some desk space for another project. It's also really nice in case your cable breaks for any reason, like if you have a pet that likes to chew on things. It's a lot easier to replace a cable than it is to replace a whole keyboard. But that's about it in terms of specs. So without further ado, let's get into the unboxing. Come on. There we go. All right, so here's the presentation. We've got a little cardboard sleeve up top here with, what do we got? Instructions. HyperX has you covered. Yep, this is just a little card with their information in case you need to contact them about anything. Here's the quick start guide. Let's get in here. You can see the keyboard itself sort of inlaid into the cardboard. It's got a plastic sleeve on it. Don't need the knife for this. All right, and there's the keyboard. It's pretty hefty, actually. It's sorry, my dog went a little crazy at the mailman there. All right, we've got the keyboard itself. It's pretty hefty. It's heavier than it looks, I will say. Keys are good, feel like mechanical reds. My only thought right off the bat, it is a little tight, but that's kind of 60% keyboards. They're all kind of like that. It's the trade-off for having such a small form factor, but we'll get into that more at the review section. So underneath the cardboard sleeve here, we've got extra space bar and extra normal size key along with a keycap remover. That's useful. The extra spacebar key is kind of cool. It has this pattern on it, which I actually really like. That'd be cool on the whole keyboard, but that'd be also probably be pretty distracting, so I can see why it would just be cool on the spacebar. And then we've got the USB Type-C to USB Type-A cable. And that's it. All right, I'm gonna be using this for the next couple weeks, really try it out, put it through its paces, do some games with it. And then once I've done that, we'll be back with the review section. Stick around. We're back, and it's time to talk about the HyperX Alloy Origins 60 mechanical gaming keyboard. Let's start with the build quality. This thing is, as I mentioned before, made of aircraft grade aluminum. It has zero flex, it's very hefty, doesn't move around on the desk at all. It's got 4 rubber feet for when it's flat, and it's got 2 different liftable feet to adjust the back to different angles, however you like it, whatever set incline you prefer. The keycaps are made of PBT plastic, which is much nicer than ABX. It's sturdier, it has less flex to it than ABX plastic does. It also doesn't wear as easily. ABS plastic has a tendency to get a sort of shine to it after a while once you've worn it down a little bit with your fingertips. PBT plastic goes a lot farther, and it will maintain this matte black finish for a lot longer. That's not going to appear oily or anything like that from your fingertips. It utilizes the HyperX red linear switches, which we discussed before. You can kind of see the red outline down there, but you don't really see it from a straight on angle, and also the RGB sort of covers it up. So I never really thought of it as a big deal. Using them is pretty nice. I liked it a lot. They feel a lot like Cherry MX Reds, but I did notice they're a touch more sensitive. They're very smooth as you're using them, but the actuation is just a skosh higher. I had to look it up because I wasn't sure if it was all in my head or not, but there is a 0.2 millimeter difference in the actuation distance. So these actuate a little bit closer. Some gamers might really like that. You press the G button and you're gonna throw that grenade just a fraction of a second faster than your buddy. Maybe that's a good thing, maybe not. Why don't you go ahead and leave a comment down below. Let us know whether you think that's a feature you prefer or it's something you think that it's better off without. Honestly, after a day or two of using it, I stopped noticing. So for me, it's not really a pro or a con. It's just something that the keyboard does that you get used to really quickly and then completely forget about. I've used it to game quite a bit over the last 3 weeks. I used it to play some Cyberpunk 2077. I used it to play some Doom. I used it to play some RPGs that didn't really test anything at all, but I just wanted to play them and it was fun. And the whole time it was good. As I mentioned before, the key distance seemed a little close at first, but just like with the switches, I got used to it really quickly and then I never noticed it again. My hand was never uncomfortable, I never cramped or anything like that. It was very comfortable to game on the entire time, and as I mentioned before, the red switches are very smooth and they feel good to interface with. One of the things that 60% keyboards do in order to make up for the fact that they don't have these keys here or the F keys up top is they added a function key. A function key gives a lot of secondary functions to your primary keys. So HyperX did kind of a neat thing where they gave a lot of the secondary functions labels, and these are pre-assigned secondary functions. So since you don't have the arrow keys over here, you just hold down function and then press one of these 4 keys here, and that's your arrow pad. We've got some media control keys over here, and it's real easy. One thing that I like that HyperX did is they moved the function key to the right corner. Now your reach isn't quite as far because they did that, but I feel like that's just a much more intuitive space for it. And the arrows are the only ones that I'm really using all that often. Occasionally I'll reach over for the media keys to turn the volume up or down or to pause something. But for the most part, I'm just using the arrow keys. So having them all sort of neatly all together like this with the function key in the corner made it very easy for me to, without looking or thinking about it, just sort of dial that in and use those keys. But even though these keys are marked, they're not necessarily set in stone. You can actually use the NGENUITY software to reassign any key on the board. You can reassign the primary layout, which I wouldn't do. I would leave the baseboard alone, but you can also reassign the function keys. And most of these keys over here don't have any sort of assignment, so you could put hotkeys or anything you like over there. Now you also use the NGENUITY software to control RGB. There are 8 looping effects and 3 triggered effects that you can use. That's not a whole lot these days, but for the most part, it's all you need. You can also layer them, which is really interesting. So what I did, for example, is I put a static blue underneath this sort of rainbow effect at one point, and then I turned down the opacity on the rainbow effect until it was primarily blue, but you could just kind of see this sort of ethereal color wave moving across it, which I thought was pretty cool. So there's a lot of different ways that you can work with that to sort of create new effects. It's still sort of limiting compared to other softwares out there. The softwares from iQ or the Razer software or the Logitech software, those offer a lot more functionality. The NGENUITY is very simple, it's very easy to use, and it offers all the primary functions that I feel you need. So this might not be the best keyboard for somebody that needs a ton of different functions that they can mess around with. It also only has 3 profiles. I feel like I usually set 1 profile and that's all I use. So for me, more than 3 seems excessive. But I know there's a lot of people that like to have different profiles, maybe 1 for each game or something like that. And so 3 might be limiting. So that's just something to keep in mind if you're thinking about this board. So now that we've talked about all the features and the uses, let's get down to the verdict. Should you buy it or not? The The Alloy Origins 60 is affordable. It has tremendous build quality. It's got those nice linear red keycaps. It isn't available in any other kind of mechanical key. You can't get it in a blue or a brown, but the reds are really nice and they're what's considered the best for gaming. So for the most part, that's what most people are going to want anyway, so that kind of makes sense. But if you're a fan of blues or browns, this probably isn't the keyboard for you. You're probably going to have to find something else. As I mentioned before, the control software, also not the best. But it is cheaper than the Razer Huntsman Mini. It is cheaper than the Annie Pro 2. It is very affordable for this level of quality. And in terms of what constitutes price, I think that build quality is probably the most important thing. Having a solidly built keyboard with a fast USB Type-C connection and good switches is more important than any RGB software or anything like that. So I think this is a really, really good keyboard. And keeping all that in mind, we gave this an 8.3 out of 10. Took a point or two off for the missing functions and stuff like that, but in terms of value and quality and just the usability of it, it's top notch. It's a really, really good keyboard. So if those other things don't bother you, I say go for it. All right, thanks for watching, everybody. We're a new channel, so we really appreciate it if you'd like and subscribe. That early growth is really gonna help us boost the channel, make more videos like this, and bring you that good content. If you have used a 60% keyboard and you felt like something was missing, go ahead and leave a comment and let us know what features you'd really like to see in a new 60% keyboard. All right, thanks for watching. Happy gaming.